Speculation as to whether Iran are trying to create a nuclear weapon. So I booked a tour at one of their uranium enrichment facilities to see what was really going on.
Here we make nuclear energy for very peaceful use only. You see? Microwave, rice cooker, washing machine, very normal things.
This is not bomb. This is giant water heater for entire village. Very efficient.
Nothing to see here. We are just cooking lentils. Yes, only civilian. We even use uranium to toast bread now. Very modern.
On Fridays, we like to have some fun at work.
And then I'm like, this baby motherfucker better not blow up by nuclear shit, or I'm gonna go loco on this bitch. And then he blows up all my nuclear shit, and I'm like, call my generals. And they tell me, they're all dead, sir. And I'm like, assemble the army. And they're like, they're dead too, sir. So then I'm like, launch the friggin' missiles. And they're like, sir, they're gone, sir. So I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I know some of you crazy motherfuckers are calling for death to America and crazy shit like that. But let's get real, people. The new American president with the nice hair is not fucking around, okay? He specifically told me he would shove a bunker buster missile up my ass if I ever harmed any American. And I don't know about you, but that shit sounds painful as hell. So let's all just chill a little bit, okay? Go fuck a goat or whatever you crazy guys do in your spare time, okay? Thank you.
Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever this video finds you, welcome to Ticks. We are not going to mess around today because apparently the man that never sleeps, he was asked a bunch of questions as he got ready to hop on Air Force One. And this was this morning and it was hilarious. Let's go. Let's get right into it because we got some videos to jump into. Let's go.
I don't think so, but I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit, and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. Ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either. Because all I do is play both sides. I'm going now, as you know, to NATO. Some of you are going with me, and I think it's going to be successful. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Are you going to the new dawn in the Middle East agreement you managed to achieve? What are your future plans for the region, for Saudi Arabia, Israel, Gaza, the hostages?
Look, you're asking me about women in the Middle East. It's getting a lot better. Things are happening at a high level. As you know, Saudi Arabia's done a really good job. It's coming out far faster than I thought. So we're very happy about what's happening with women in the Middle East.
No, I'm talking.
Yeah, because you just had a bunch of Iranian female students. They took off their hijabs, and of course, protesting in the school. They want a regime change. You know, they want a regime change, and it's up. It really is up to the citizens.
About this, a new dawn in the Middle East that you managed to achieve last night.
Yeah.
You know, the region is going to a new place.
That's true.
Agreement. Can you tell us what your future plans for Gaza, for the hostages?
Yeah. It's a new dawn. I appreciate the question. You're very nice. Who are you?
Thank you. I'm Nuria Kraus from Israeli Channel.
Very good. But we have to have Israel calm down because they went on a mission this morning. I got to get Israel to calm down now.
Do you have to speak with violence? Did you talk to
I speak to everybody.
You urge both sides not to violate the ceasefire, but reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it. Okay? I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSNBC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean. No, Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSNBC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSNBC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
Iran violated the agreement, the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Woo-wee. I think Trump is fed up. I think he's fed up with the anti-American seditionist language coming out of the alphabet network. So that'd be CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC. You know, I think he's tired of them. Even Fox sometimes get caught up in it. And they're supposed to be, you know, the Republican news network. You know, it's like, dude, like, y'all don't understand. We're sitting up here, we're fighting, trying to save the country, prevent war, protect the citizens. And you guys go out and it's like you're under foreign control. Like, I can get it. Look, I understand. If you don't like me, fine. But at least respect what I'm trying to do here. Respect what I'm trying to do here. Like, I'm trying to make sure that you can sit on TV and collect $9 million a year and say such garbage. Like, but you have no respect. You have no respect. And it's pathetic. Eventually somebody's You keep picking on somebody, eventually he's going to punch you in the mouth. Let's go on. Let's move on to the next one. And people are saying he's in Israel's pocket. I doubt that very highly.
How are you?
Hold on, let's see here. Here we go.
Yeah, we're breaking the skills. That was the story. But they had a lot of planes going in the wrong direction. You know that, right?
Do you want any consequences for Israel or Iran for breaking?
They didn't do anything. No, they didn't do anything. They would have if I put out a statement of truth, and they didn't do anything.
Sir, how are you confident that this might not happen again? Say in a couple weeks then.
Tired of it. I think they don't want it to happen again. And Iran's not going to have a nuclear weapon, by the way. I think it's the last thing on their mind right now.
Mr. President, did Iran make any commitments yesterday about uranium enrichment?
About what?
About uranium enrichment.
They're not going to have enrichment, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they know that. They're going to get on to being a great trading nation. You know, they're very good traders, and they're going to be a great trading nation, and they have a lot of oil. They're going to do well. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
So did they
The
promise?
last thing on Iran's mind right now is nuclear weapons.
Can you clarify what you meant when you mentioned regime change in your Truth Social post the other night?
Which,
Regime change? Do you want to see regime change in Iran?
no. If there was, there was. But no, I don't want it. I'd like to see everything calm down as quickly as possible. Regime change takes chaos. And ideally, we don't want to see so much chaos. So we'll see how it does. You know, the Iranians are very good traders, very good business people, and they got a lot of oil. They should be fine. They should be able to rebuild and do a good job. They're never going to have nuclear, but other than that, they should do a great job, which is exactly where I've been saying for years, you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. But we're going to be with, where's Marco? I think Marco's here someplace. You know,
He's behind you.
Secretary of State. So we cannot let
Little
them have a
Marco.
nuclear weapon. They won't have a nuclear weapon. And I will tell you, the last thing on their minds is nuclear weapons. They don't even want to think about nuclear. And our B-2 pilots made this all possible. They had a magnificent hit in the dark of night with no moon, no light, no nothing. They hit the target perfectly, wiped it out. And the press is very disrespectful. I saw CNN fake news going, well, maybe it wasn't a perfect hit. It was perfect. They said maybe it did destroy it. We agree it did destroy it, but maybe it could have destroyed it more. No, it couldn't have destroyed it more. Everyone hit. And it's very disrespectful to those great geniuses and patriots that flew those planes through tremendous danger. So CNN and MSNBC are a disgrace. And so are the others. I mean, they're pretty much all a disgrace. But it's an amazing period of time. Now we're going to NATO, and we'll get a new set of problems. We'll solve a new set of problems.
Do you think you'll meet with Zelensky when you're there?
Yeah, probably. I'll see him. Yeah.
What would you say to him?
Say, how you doing? He's in a tough situation. Should have never been there.
Sir, you said a couple days ago that you didn't think the U.S. should have to agree to the 5% increase in GDP on defense.
No.
Do you want to?
I was the one that said that's what they should be paying, as you know. No, I should do something. And they're having a problem with Spain. There's always a problem with Spain. Because Spain's not agreeing, which is very unfair to the rest of them, frankly.
So the U.S. won't be increasing our GDP to 5%.
We should pay what everyone else, they're in Europe, we're not. A lot of that money goes to rebuilding their bridges, their roads, so it can take heavy equipment. And, we don't have any roads in Europe. We don't have any bridges in Europe. So, no, it wouldn't be quite the same thing for us. But we're with them.
Are you still committed to Article 5 of NATO?
It depends on your definition. There's numerous definitions of Article 5. You know that, right? But I'm committed to being their friends. I've become friends with many of those leaders, and I'm committed to helping them.
What do you want the role of NATO to be going forward once these other countries are spending more?
By having a unified system, I think we're going to have stronger peace, better peace. And I think we have that. When I went to NATO, they were broke. When I first started this whole thing, it seems like a long time ago, 9 years, right? But they were broke. I knew it immediately. I said, you guys are broke. They weren't paying their dues. 7 of the 28 countries at the time it was 28 were paying their dues, but they weren't paying very much. NATO was broke. Then I said, you're going to have to pay. And we did a whole thing, and now they're paying a lot. Then I said, you're going to have to lift it to 4% or 5%, and 5% is better. They just, I guess they're voting on that today, but they're going to be lifting it to 5%. That's good. It gives them much more power.
Mr. President, if there's language in the final summit declaration about aggression by Russia, would you be okay with that kind of language?
Well, I'll have to take a look at it, but I'd like to see a deal with Russia. As you know, Vladimir called me up. He said, can I help you with Iran? I said, no, I don't need help with Iran. I need help with you. And I hope we're going to be getting a deal done with Russia. It's a shame. 6,000 soldiers died last week. More, 6,500 soldiers died last week. Russia, Ukraine, a war that never would have happened if I was president. So enjoy your flight.
Let me ask you one more follow-up. You mentioned your comments just now about Article 5. That will probably make some people in Europe concerned. Can you clarify what you mean? Are you still committed to mutual defense?
I'm committed to saving lives. I'm committed to life and safety. And I'm going to give you an exact definition when I get there. I just don't want to do it on the back of an airplane. Okay?
And one other question on energy. What's your take on the oil price situation right now, and are you concerned?
I love it. It dropped almost $10 yesterday. I put out a statement, get it down, because a lot of people aren't able to do things when the energy goes down. We're going to have a lot less conflict. So it came down, and our energy department's doing a great job. We're drilling like we've never drilled before. We're keeping it down. We're going to keep it down until all these wars are settled. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you.
Iranian sleeper cells in the United States.
Biden let a lot of supercells, and Biden was an incompetent president, had no idea what he was doing. He hardly ever signed a document. Other people signed documents for him with the auto pen. It was gross incompetence. And among everything else, he let a lot of supercells in, many from Iran. But hopefully we'll take care of them. What Biden did to this country should never be forgotten.
Sir, do you think you'll get the Nobel Peace Prize now, sir?
Well, he's done. But, this is why, like, when we talk about the cartel, like, of course, you have cartel members that have flooded the streets of America, thanks to Biden's auto pen or whatever. And, they're easily defeatable. You can easily defeat the cartels. If you cut off the head of the snake, the rest of it withers and dies because it has no, especially in the metaphor, because there's no leadership. There's no leadership. And as you can see with these bunker busters, we just dropped 6 bunker busters and fired another 30-something missiles from a sub. And Iran is waving a white flag. Like, if cartel members, if they really want to play the game, just send a couple of tomahawks over there and just wipe out their home bases. You think you can get away through tunnels? Like, how do you think we knew that Iran had a nuclear bomb facility buried 200 feet in the rock out there in their desert? Like, hello, it's 2025. We can see your tunnels. We see your heat signatures. We see you running with your rifle through the tunnels. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were right there with you. Like, there's no escape. There's no escape. But let's get on. So this is what happened about a week or so ago with Pete Hegseth.
You're not recognized as the gentlelady from,
because this happened when this happened, let's see here, 11 days ago with Pete Hegseth, where he if the president told you to shoot people in the legs, would you? Jill Takula grills Pete Hegseth, because everything that you see that the Democratic Party is doing, of course, and I'm sticking with this theory that they are under foreign entity control. And they want to know that if an insurrection happened, like a full-scale insurrection where they tried to take over cities and everything, like they tried to take over LA, like they want to have happen in Chicago, like they're trying to do up in Portland, Oregon, and also trying to do in New York and in Boston. But as you can see, down in Florida, when they had that No Kings protest or whatnot, they only arrested a handful of people and there was zero violence as far as what we saw out in LA, what we're seeing up in Portland. There was no violence like that. Like that sheriff said, we will kill you graveyard dead. You understand? We will tell your family where to come pick up your remains. You will be peaceful, you will be orderly, and you will stay out of the streets. You bet not mob a car, because we're giving them carte blanche to run right through you. We will not have a Reginald Denny situation in the state of Florida. I'm surprised after that happened, there wasn't a Reginald Denny Act passed through the federal government, where if you're caught in a situation like that, step on the gas. Your life is way more valuable than the people attacking you. We don't value property over humanity, because people that do that have lost their humanity. They gave up their rights to be seen as human beings when they try to mob you and attack you like that. These people are wanton criminals at that point. I'm not saying stomp on the gas 75 miles an hour and just barrel through a crowd, but if you're trying to push through, and again, protesting out in the street is illegal. It's not allowed. You saw that in Florida. Them people had them signs at the red light. They stood in the intersection holding up their signs, and when the light turned green, they moseyed their little happy selves right back over to the sidewalk like they had some sense and let those cars through. Yeah, that's a peaceful protest. You blocking me from getting to work, picking up my kids from school, getting my grandma to the hospital and all that stuff. I'm sorry, that's not making me come over to your cause. If anything, that's making me hate you even more. You're already being a nuisance. Now you make me hate you. You're not helping your cause. You're hurting it. All that Greta Thunberg garbage, yeah, you keep that overseas. Don't bring that here. But when you see the siege that happened out in LA and in Portland, if it gets too bad, because right now they're just throwing fireworks at the police officers and everything and the agents. But if you all of a sudden you want to start throwing rocks and bottles and frozen water bottles and everything, you want to start throwing stuff at a federal agent or anybody that works in government, that's a hostile attack, and it should be met with lethal force. Because at that point, I mean, once I can see you attacking a normal citizen, that's bad enough. But when you attack law enforcement reserves the right to fuck you up, because that's your, in all honesty, for your grandma and you and whoever else, that's your last line. That's your first and middle line of defense. Once they breach those gates, then it's law, it's flat out lawlessness, and you have to squash that by any means necessary. So this is why she's asking that. But as you can see, as they try to keep these criminal illegals in the country, along with these terrorist cells, thank God that the Supreme Court said, yes, go ahead and start deporting these people again. Yeah, why are you, as a Democratic Party, why are you fighting so hard to keep these people here? Like, because you have a plan in place, because you're under foreign control. But if you want to know just how far the government can go, stop them. So let's go.
From Hawaii, Mr. Kuda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I agree. We've had many performances today, but what we'd like is some answers. Mr. Secretary, did you invite Elon Musk for a briefing on war plans with China to the Pentagon? Yes or no is simple.
There's been a lot of hyperbole and incorrect reporting around that situation, but we did invite Elon over to come talk to us generally, but there was no war plans being discussed.
Okay, so whose idea was it to invite him to the Pentagon for a briefing? You mentioned you served at the pleasure of the president. Was it the president's will to have him come and be briefed?
As you know, at that time, Elon Musk was leading up Doge efforts, and we've taken a great investment in Doge at DoD, and so getting his input on how we make DoD more efficient makes a great deal of sense.
Okay, but don't you think it's a conflict of interest for the world's richest man? Many of the contracts that the DoD is engaged in, billions of dollars of contracts going to his company, and he is, as to your point, was leading Doge, which was involved in cutting hundreds of contracts, but also becoming intimately aware of the platforms and the requirements that would be given out for new contracts. Did you not think it was a conflict of interest to invite someone with financial interests into the Pentagon to have firsthand knowledge of what they could then bid on for their own, enrichment?
Ma'am, it was just an informal discussion, but I'll tell you, anyone that knows our Defense Department knows we show no preference to any company other than what your capabilities are. And we're grateful for the places where his companies benefit our national defense.
So for a $280 million donation, the world's richest man with companies intimately linked and involved in billion-dollar contracts with the Department of Defense gain access into the Pentagon. So would you say that any company right now that has multi-billion-dollar contracts with the Department of Defense has access to the Pentagon right now? 1-hour briefings with you personally?
On the regular
I think
basis,
the answer
I meet
is
with many people and many different companies and many different aspects of our defense industrial base to ensure we have the best possible capabilities. It would be imprudent.
Well, I'm sure for
Right. I mean, you got Elon with his company with Tesla, SpaceX, whatever. You've got Boeing. You've got Lockheed Martin. Are you telling me that none of their representatives or heads of the companies came and had a meeting with anybody, especially with the defense secretary and the president in the Pentagon, as far as trying to put in their bid for a defense contract? Is that what you're trying to tell us, Miss Tokuda? You're trying to say that they're not allowed to do that? Just because they had a meeting doesn't mean that they won the contract, because it hasn't been given out. And we've seen the robots that Tesla is doing, the ones that got the ninja backflips and all of that stuff. We've seen all of that. I covered it last year. You got a lot of companies that are in robotics that are working on security. You got a company, they've got an R2D2 robot, a RoboCop car robot, and they've got, the actual, like the robots from the prequels, the Roger. Yeah, they're creating these robots for defense. What is she trying to get at?
an investment of $280 million. Elon's investors are quite happy that it's come out into the billions. I want to jump questions right now. Mr. Secretary, on January 6, 2021, rioters and looters attacked federal law enforcement officials, vandalized and destroyed federal government property, and caused an estimated $2.7 billion in damages right here at the Capitol. Would you have sent the National Guard and the Marines in on that day?
Well, unfortunately, President Trump requested the National Guard in advance, and that was...
It took him quite a long time. I'm asking you, as Secretary of Defense, would you have sent in the National Guard and the Marines on that day? We had 140 Capitol Police officers injured. One died the next day. Would you have sent in the National Guard and the Marines?
As I said, President Trump directed National Guard to be there in advance.
And I think you can look at the record of how long it actually took for him to actually send them in. But it's good to hear that it sounds like you would have sent in the National Guard and the Marines on that day in which the insurrection was taking place, right?
Yeah, the one that Nancy Pelosi. I mean, this is like, it's not even a secret anymore. Everybody knows that Nancy Pelosi canceled the order, didn't want to send the National Guard in during January 6th. So why the hell do you, so why the hell y'all keep talking about it? Why do y'all keep talking about it? You need to be talking to Nancy Pelosi about that, but you won't because you're feckless. I know feckless is becoming my new word.
Right here at the Capitol. Mr. Secretary, during your confirmation hearing, you failed to deny the conclusion that you would carry out an order to shoot protesters in the legs. So let me be direct. Given what we are seeing across the country right now, would you carry out or issue an order by the president for our military to fire upon protesters actively engaging in their civil right to exercise free speech, their First Amendment rights? Would you give that order from the
Throwing
president?
rocks is not free speech.
I assume you're
Attacking
insinuating
officers
what's
is
going
not
on in
free
Los
speech.
Angeles, and I would
Not just Los Angeles, if you take a look at protests throughout the country,
That's
it's a
lawlessness.
simple question. If directed by the president, would you order our military to fire upon protesters?
Hell
Simple
yes.
yes or no's.
Ma'am, we
Fine.
have, as you know, and as this committee knows, we have standard rules of engagement that are in place that give guidance to our troops, and they abide by them.
I'm asking what you would do. Again, you said you serve at the pleasure of the president. Is that not true?
I do serve at the
So if the president told you to shoot people in the legs, would you do so? Now, you failed to answer this question as well in your confirmation hearing when asked by members of the Senate.
Because I refuse to accept a false hypothetical that's attempting to put me in a corner and make it look like a
At
representative.
a time when we have more Marines and
standard
National
rules of
Guard in
engagement
Los
and they are
Angeles than
followed.
we do in Syria and Iran alone, I don't think this is a hypothetical. This is an act.
Why would we have? I'm sorry. Why would we have National Guard in Syria and Iran? They're called the National Guard. You moron. They're the National Guard. You moron.
Actual situation that we are dealing with right now. So again, I will ask the question, the last 14 seconds I have, would you order our military to shoot at their fellow countrymen if ordered by the president?
I think it's interesting that for 4 years, insurrection was the left's
I think we
favorite
know your
word,
answer. Thank you, Mr.
and that
Chair. I
when
yield
it's
back.
invoked in LA, they were
Gentlelady yields back.
Yes. In all honesty, the answer. I would tell them. I would tell her. I'd be like, you know what? Would I have my Marine Corps shoot American citizens in the leg just for peacefully protesting? No, that's ridiculous. But if there was a full-scale, flat-out insurrection where illegals and citizens of the United States took up arms against the National Guard, our police, and other law enforcement agents trying to have a brutal attack on them, yes, it wouldn't be in the legs though. The purpose of the U.S. military and the National Guard is to protect America from within and without, from threats within and outside. So yes, if it came down to it, if it got that bad, then yes. 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 That would be my answer. Yes.
Gentleman yields back. Chair, and I recognize this gentleman from California, Mr. Khanna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I'm hoping we can start where we may have common ground. No war in Iran. In 2016, President Trump was one of the few people on the Republican stage to have the...
No, I get it, but the National Guard, y'all stay right here. We have problems within our borders. So no, I'm not sending the National Guard. The Coast Guard, I get it. But the National Guard, no, you stay right here. You stay right here. Because if I'm sending the National Guard to a foreign country, then that leaves the interior of the United States wide open. So why would I send the National Guard overseas? You send them to do backup duty. No. You stay right here. That's why we have the technology that we have. You saw how we struck Iran. And like they said, no, not one life lost. We ain't got to do all that. We don't have to do all that. But so let's see here. Secretary Pete Hegseth refuses to say he would respect the decision from federal courts on troops in LA. Right, because they want that insurrection. They want it so bad. They want it so bad.
Gentleman yields back. Chair, and I recognize this gentleman from California, Mr. Khanna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I'm hoping...
I guess they think that if they have an insurrection now, that's supposed to be their lick back for January 6th. But excuse me, The BLM riots January 6th does not compare to the BLM riots where they destroyed cities, like city blocks in all of these cities where they had them. They squashed it here. I was here during those protests here in Atlanta. Trust me, the black cops here in Atlanta wasn't playing that. They wasn't playing that. I think they burned down a Wendy's. That was like the most damage that they did. But outside of that, no. You're not tearing up city blocks. There's some drug addict criminal. Hell no. Hell no. Stand there with your goddamn protest signs and yell and scream and saber rattle on the sidewalk of the Capitol building. But you bet not be lighting up Molotov cocktails. You bet not start throwing any rocks. Because when we get the skull cracking, you're not going to be able to say racism. Leroy popped you in the head with a baton, not Jethro. Shoot, they kept it pretty civil down here. Anyway,
we can start where we may have common ground. No war in Iran. In 2016, President Trump was one of the few people on the Republican stage to have the guts to say that George W. Bush's war in Iraq was an utter disaster. He promised the American people no endless wars. Tucker Carlson has said that thousands of Americans will die if there's a war in Iran. He is cautioning that currently neocons are trying to get President Trump into a war in Iran. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has said the American people don't want to bomb Iran. Will you today assure the American people and the MAGA movement that you will not bomb Iran unless we are hit?
No.
Congressman, it's good to hear you quoting conservatives.
I took a shot.
Well, they're right. I quote them.
He took a shot.
I will tell you this. The president has been earnestly and completely committed to a peace process, has given Iran every opportunity, those talks ongoing, but he also fully recognizes the threat that Iran with a nuclear weapon would exist.
Will you commit to us not bombing them? I mean, that's what the conservative MAGA movement is calling for it online. You'll see. I mean, they want a commitment that we not bomb Iran unless we're directly hit.
Well, here in this forum, it wouldn't be prudent for me to commit or not to commit. My job is to be postured and prepared in the region, just as the chairman.
How about this?
Would you any potential capability?
Would you agree with this analysis that Netanyahu is itching for a fight? If Netanyahu uses American missiles to hit Iran, he's going to drag us into a war there because Iran's going to say they're using American missiles. Our military knows that you cannot just through hits eliminate Iran's nuclear capability. They'll simply go underground and they will then end monitoring. And unlike Iraq, they're in heavily civilian sites. Will you?
Again, this was 11 days ago. You heard what he said. They'll just go underground and blase, blase. And what did the bunker busters do?
Stand up today and make it clear to Netanyahu that escalation, what he's threatening just yesterday, is not in the American interest, that he should not be dragging America into war with Iran.
Well, Congressman, that question included a lot of speculation. What I know is that Bibi Netanyahu is going to put his country first, and we're going to put our country first, and we're positioned properly in the region to ensure that we're prepared for any potential contingency.
Are you concerned about his escalation into Iran, and will you assure the American people you're going to do everything possible to keep us out of a war in Iran?
We remain, as the president has said, committed to creating the conditions for peace, creating the conditions for talks where Iran does not have the ability to develop a nuclear weapon.
I'm running out of time, 2 minutes, so let me ask you another matter. Senator Baldwin asked you about the legal authority for the Marines in my state. I disagree with you. I thought not only do I not want Marines in Iran, I don't want them in California. But I don't want to get a gotcha. You know, they said, what provision? Your administration since then has filed in the federal district court. You're arguing that the Marines should be allowed to defend federal property. I disagree with you. That's your argument. Here's where I hope we can agree.
Well, then who should be allowed to defend federal property that's being violently attacked by illegals? Who should defend it? Huh? Barney Fife and the Keystone Cops? Who should defend it? Especially when they're trying to breach a containment facility that has some of the most dangerous criminals in your city locked up, and they're trying to free these people. Who should protect it? It won't be you. If anything, you look like you'll be in there with a crowbar trying to get them out. You look like one of those type of people. The way you're talking, and I don't mean that in a racial way, but in a mental way. Them people in California their leadership is sick in the head, but I digress.
Whatever the federal district court decides, will you abide by it?
Well, this is a pending situation.
So will you agree, though, that it's not my legal view, it's not your legal view that makes the decision in America. It's the federal judiciary. If the federal court in California and the San Francisco, this district judge has orders a preliminary injunction, will you agree to abide by the federal courts?
What I will tell you is my job right now is to ensure the troops that we have in Los Angeles are capable of supporting law enforcement in
Sir, I agree with that, but will you?
And we know
can you
we have the
just assure,
constitutional and statutory authority.
That's fine, but can you just assure us that you'll abide by the decisions of the courts?
Why would he not?
We've always looked at the decisions of.
Well, the vice president has said that he doesn't believe that the courts should be respected in military matters.
This is not my lane, but we also recognize that the way in which the judiciary has expanded its powers.
But can you just give a simple? Okay, let me ask you this: two simple questions. You get 30 seconds. I'm not trying to trick you. I think it would assure the American people. Because it shouldn't be Ro Khanna's view of the Constitution. It shouldn't be Secretary Hegseth's. It should be the Supreme Court and the federal courts. Can you assure the American people on two things? You will respect any Supreme Court decision on this matter about whether the Marines are constitutional, and you will respect the district courts when they rule before the Supreme Court rules.
What I can say is we should not have local judges determining foreign policy or national security policy for the country.
So you're not willing to say you would respect those decisions?
What I'm saying is local district judges shouldn't make foreign policy for the United States.
Right. I understand what this guy is trying to say, because as y'all remember, there was a district court judge that tried to kick the Marines and the National Guard out of California, but the Supreme Court quickly overturned it. You know what I'm saying? It was either a district or a federal judge, but either way, it quickly got overturned within 4 hours. Quickly, they vetoed it. Like, nope, they stay there. We're not turning nothing over to Gavin Newsom. He's a moron. Like, I mean, everybody in the world sees that this guy is a moron. No, we're not turning it over to him. And if you're at a point where your city is being overrun by illegals, we don't care what some district judge in that area has to say. This is for the safety and the security of the country. You are not going to tell us what to do. So that way, you who are in bed, in pocket with the cartels or whatever foreign power that's out there, or somehow you're some bleeding heart moron. No. The safety and security of the nation, especially a city or a state like California, a city like LA, one of the largest cities in America, is at stake. No. To hell with your ruling. To hell with your ruling.
So that's what I'm at. And I agree
this
with
happened
that.
on. This was June 16th when this went down. It said Trump promotes call for ICE to target Democratic-run inner cities, because that's where a lot of the problems are. Not just with ICE, but, criminality in general. But let's go.
On immigration, why are you ordering ICE to target Democratic inner cities? What's behind that?
I don't know what you're saying.
You did a post last night where you said you want ICE to really target Democrats.
Yeah, I want them to focus on the cities, because the cities are where you really have what's called sanctuary cities, and that's where the people are. I look at New York, I look at Chicago. I mean, you got a really bad governor in Chicago and a bad mayor, but the governor's probably the worst in the country, Pritzker. But I look at how that city has been overrun by criminals, and New York and LA. Look at LA. LA, those people weren't from LA. They weren't from California. Most of those people, many of those people, and that's the focus. Biden allowed 21 million people to come into our country. Of that, vast numbers of those people were murderers, killers, people from gangs, people from jails. They emptied their jails out into the U.S. Most of those people are in the cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities, and they think they're going to use them to vote. It's not going to happen.
It's a glowing protest. Just take a look at this crowd. We are in Pico Rivera, and dozens of demonstrators are out here tonight. People are angry over how ICE raids are being conducted, especially after what happened this morning. Social media videos captured a dramatic scene unfolding in the Walmart parking lot in Pico.
Oh, I remember this. I was trying to show y'all this couple of broadcasts ago, last week, where the young dude got murked up. Well, not murked up, but he learned himself a very valuable lesson when it came to getting in ICE's way.
Pico Rivera, where outraged community members confronted federal agents.
Hey, you forgot to cover your man face.
Suddenly, an unmarked truck pulled up. Men armed with AR-15s jumped out and moved in to take control of the situation.
It's like we are in a war zone in our own communities, bringing out rifles. I mean, we are your everyday civilians. You know, those weapons, they're weapons of war.
Well, then don't get in ICE's way, and you won't see those weapons pointed in your face.
You know, they're meant to, protect you from the enemy. And we become the enemy?
Yes.
Here's what happened just before everything exploded. 2 Border Patrol trucks pulled into the parking lot. This man suddenly took off running. So did this maintenance worker. That's when 20-year-old Adrian Andrew Martinez saw what was happening and drove his car toward the ICE agents' vehicles. His mother, Myra Villarreal, spoke with Fox 11 News.
In the video, it shows that, he was trying to help. He was telling them, leave him alone. He's just working. And I guess they didn't like that.
In the video, you see Martinez roll a trash bin in front of the Border Patrol truck. There's a brief exchange. Then agents rush in and take him down. Martinez can be seen resisting.
Now they're saying that he attacked them. So they want to press charges, saying that he was attacking them. But in the video, it shows everything.
This is totally different ballgame. Please be careful. Know your rights.
Retired LAPD Detective Moses Castillo says people should understand that ICE agents have the authority to arrest anyone they believe is interfering with their investigation.
So here's what happened. Because I think I have, let me see. I think I got the full video. But let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. I think I downloaded the full video. What happened was, as they said, he pulled up when they was chasing them fat old men who had deportation orders. He blocked first. He tried to block them in with his car. He tried to block ICE in with his car, and he got out. And he also pushed his the cleaning guy that was the Walmart employee. He tried to push the whole mop bucket little thingy in the way, trying to block them from leaving. What's up, baby? He tried to block them from leaving. So they got out, to move him and the bucket out the way, and he got all up in their face. So they pushed him out the way, shoved him to the ground, like, move, you little punk. So he got up talking mess and then started trying to swing. So they, as you saw, they got the scuffling, body slamming to the ground, all that stuff, and down goes Frazier. And now he's looking at at maximum 20 years in, I don't have the video, sorry, but he's looking at a maximum of 20 years in prison for assault and battery on a federal officer. They're not playing around, because when those 2 trucks pulled up, what's going on now, especially in California, when the ICE people pull up, they got backup around the corner. So if all of a sudden the people start, they hit their little apps, oh, ICE is here. And then, of course, they come and try to swarm the area. They pull up like this. They pull up with these guns, and these unmarked trucks and everything, and they back you up off of them.
And the penalties can be severe.
When you interfere with law enforcement in California, you probably get arrested for a misdemeanor and maybe not face criminal charges. But with the federal agents, you're looking at some serious federal time, anywhere between 1 year in federal prison up to 8 years.
I have no idea where he's at. I don't know if he's okay. I don't know if they're doing it in open doors, the way they're treating him. Imagine behind closed doors. I'm really...
Look, they trying to play him like he's some sweet little, innocent little, I like to play with kittens and puppies. But his behavior, when everything was going on, he was so out of pocket. He was so out of pocket. Let me see if I can find. Hold on. Let me see here. Hold on. Dang it. What's the other site I go to? It's not on Chaotic. Let me see. And the U.S. is not turning into a police state. It's just that people are acting lawless. Lawlessness, especially in California, is on the rise. You've got terrorist cells in this country, and y'all want to give them blowjobs and hand jobs and stuff. Like, don't take the criminals out of America. We need them to spread terror and brutality across the nation. How dare you stop that from happening? Like, what is wrong with you folks, man?
Really worried right now.
We contacted Homeland Security for comment on the story. No one got back to us. Reporting from Pico Rivera, I'm Gina Silva. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Come here or commit crimes here. That is my number one job. But
Good
what
lady,
is happening is un-American.
Chair recognizes Mr. Timmons from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This was
that the million.
Like, all hell breaks loose when Marjorie Taylor Greene accuses Democrat governors of murder. Because, keep in mind, this came out again 11 days ago. Shortly after that, those two other congressmen were shot, and then the other two were, deleted by that guy in the Walter White mask. He was responsible for all four of those shootings. And of course, as you know, in the letter, the manifesto that he wrote and mailed to the FBI, he was blaming Tim. He said Tim Walz, because again, he wasn't supposed to survive the mission, but he snitched on Tim Walz.
Of Americans that came through Ellis Island did so legally. I'll yield to my friend from Georgia, Ms. Green.
Thank you. Governor Hochul, are you a Democrat? Yes or no?
I'm a proud registered Democrat, yes.
Did you support Joe Biden for president? Yes or no?
I did.
Did you support the Biden administration's policies for the past 4 years?
I raised my concerns in many
That's
meetings
a yes
with the
or no
administrations about how the border was being enforced. And so I raised concerns.
So you just stated, I'll reclaim my time. You said you're a proud Democrat. You supported Joe Biden for president. Clearly, you supported the Biden administration's policies. Did you swear, Governor Hochul, did you swear an oath to faithfully uphold New York's Constitution and laws?
I certainly did.
In 2017, New York became a sanctuary state when Governor Cuomo signed Executive Order 170. This states, it directs that no state officers or employees, including law enforcement officers, shall disclose information to federal immigration authorities for the purpose of federal civil immigration enforcement unless required by the law. Do you support this law as governor of New York?
Yes, this pertains to civil enforcement.
So you do enforce sanctuary policies of New York?
I supporting helping law enforcement when it comes and ICE when it comes to.
Thank you. I reclaim my time. You support sanctuary policies that have led to the horrific murder of people, Americans. This Fox News got it wrong. It should say monster. Arrested in broad daylight rape of a 13-year-old in a New York park. This girl was raped at knife point in the park near New York Mets Stadium. That's your state, Governor Hochul. New York Post also got it wrong and called him a migrant. That's a monster. Busted in brutal beating of New York PD cops in Times Square are members of bloodthirsty Trinde Aragua gangs. That's your state where you support your sanctuary state laws. Also, Governor Hochul, do you recognize this image where a homeless woman was burned alive by an illegal alien monster, where you uphold the laws to protect these monsters in your state, and then you force the New York citizens that pay taxes to pay for these people? This is the result of your sick and disgusting treasonous laws that you uphold as governor.
New York is not a
I
sanctuary
didn't
state for
recognize you, Ms.
criminals.
Hochul. This is my
Yes,
time.
it is.
Do you know the name Laken Riley? Do you know the name Laken Riley?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do. Jose Ibarra murdered 22-year-old Laken Riley. He's an illegal alien monster from Venezuela, convicted of 10 charges. He was first arrested by the Biden administration that you stated that you support. Joe Biden for president, right? Proud Democrat, Governor Hochul. First arrested at the border and released by the Democrats that you support. Then, guess what? He made it to New York because the Biden administration flew illegals all over the country, and your state was one that accepted them. He lived at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Queens, an upscale hotel that was turned into an illegal alien shelter at the taxpayers' expense. $2 million a month went to this hotel. The second time he was arrested was in the state of New York for endangering a child, but he was released quickly before ICE could even issue a detainer, because you support those laws, Governor Hochul. Then he flew, get this is shocking. He flew from the state of New York to my home state in Georgia, and you all paid for it. Because, why? Because it was reticketing, and that was the little gift that you were giving my state by sending monsters there. Cost the state of New York $5 to $10 million a day to feed and house illegals. Are you smiling at me about this?
I'm not.
You look like you got quite a smile on your face.
No.
Because I can tell you,
Gentlelady
people,
will not.
This is my time, reclaiming my
I'm
time.
thinking about
Don't you dare smile about the murder of
I'm
Laken
thinking
Riley.
about her parents.
The third
Don't
time,
question
the
how I
third
look.
time Jose
My heart is
Ibarra-
breaking for her
my
parents.
time, Governor
No, it's not.
Hochul. The
Quit
third
lying.
time he was arrested was in the sanctuary city of Athens, another Democrat policy. And then he went on and attempted to rape Laken Riley and murdered her. He murdered her. Let me explain something to you. This little girl right here, she would be alive today if you weren't such a treasonous governor supporting sanctuary laws in the state of New York. This little girl would be alive today, and her mother very much would like for her to be alive. This is outrageous for anybody in this country to support for non-citizens to be able to come in our country, be able to travel wherever they want, and then make taxpayers pay to house them, feed them, and then give them a plane ticket after they had been arrested in their state. That's what you did. You are responsible for the murder of this little girl, Laken Riley. And the Department of Justice should prosecute you for her murder.
Objection.
I don't care how much you object. And if you
Objection.
support it too,
Objection.
you're responsible for her murder.
All right.
I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
On a point of order.
Gentlelady-
On a point of order.
Gentlelady's time's
On a point of
expired.
order.
State your point.
Mr. Chairman, these witnesses have been here for over 4 hours. They've all voluntarily have been engaging with our members with respect. They've all treated our members with respect.
Laken Riley
Our
is
rules of
dead
decorum-
forever.
Our rules of
Forever.
decorum-
Forever.
our
They
rules
can
of
sit
decorum
there all
claiming
day.
Of course, he's a Democrat. He's a Democrat. And so I think also this idiot behind him, but this guy's a Democrat. They support this criminality. And I swear to God, there's no way you do this because you have Trump derangement syndrome. it doesn't infect you that badly. You do that because you do that because somebody's lining your pocket or they have something on you.
My time.
Hold on. No, state your point.
I'm trying to.
State your point. No. It's a point of inquiry, not a debate.
Our rules, if you would let me speak, our rules of decorum dictate that our witnesses should be treated with respect. And I ask you to enforce decorum and remind committee members to treat our witnesses with respect.
Our members are treating the witnesses with respect. This is not a courtroom. We engage with the witnesses, and I think everybody's acted within the realm. We haven't cried and screamed when you all are criticizing the current president, even though that's in the rules, not criticizing.
Right.
And how they look.
Rules for
Mr.
Chairman, not for me.
The chairmanship. If you all flip the House, you win the chairmanship, then you can do what Ms. Crockett says she's going to do and try to impeach Trump again or whatever you're all.
Mr. Chairman, is there any chance you would yield me 30 seconds to just respond that we are heartbroken what happened to her family?
No, you're not.
They should be alive today.
No, you're not. You guys sat there when Trump addressed Congress. You brought out Lincoln Riley's family. You brought out the girl who got permanent brain damage because of a man playing in a women's sport. You brought out Jocelyn Gonzalez's mother. You even brought out the 13-year-old black kid that had all these brain surgeries. And y'all sat there with paddles in your hand. You sat on your asses. You did nothing. You did nothing. And Trump sat up there and said, like, I could release the cure for cancer. And these people would still see me as a demon. You guys you're ridiculous as a party. You are ridiculous as a party. That's why I can't understand why even in today's day and time, seeing what you're seeing, how you can sit here as a black person and be like, yeah, I support the Democratic Party. Trump is evil. Like, these people don't stand for you. You can't even name one thing they've done for you ever in the history of your life or any lifetime whatsoever. This is the party of the slave masters. Listen to how they talk about illegals. Who's going to pick our crops? Who's going to clean our toilets? Who's going to pick our blueberries? Who's going to babysit my kids? You know, like they're slaves. Who's going to cut my lawn? Oh my God. Nothing's changed but the date and technology. Oh, and the clothing choices.
And I'm so sorry for what happened to her. I truly am what happened. But this has nothing to do with our civil enforcement of the laws. We are always cooperating with criminal investigations, always have, always will. So misstating our policies is not serving the purpose of making sure we have meaningful policies that'll actually move the dime. Why aren't we working together to come up with meaningful immigration reform, secure our borders? Do vetting at the border.
We're going to go back. Okay, Governor, with all due respect.
No, she didn't just say that.
There was no, the policy of the previous administration was an open border. It was an open border. You all supported that. Now you're saying we need.
Point of order.
You were saying you were, no, I mean,
Ms.
Ocasio-Cortez, I will recognize you because I like you.
Thank you.
But here,
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that.
Here's the
border
was open, and you all said nothing. All right, now you said we had to pass legislation. We didn't have to pass legislation. Donald Trump secured the border on the first day. Now, there's no question you all have been obstructing and criticizing and failing to work with this administration in trying to apprehend the criminal illegals. That's what this hearing's about. It's not about theater. It's about trying to get a consensus on working with this administration to deport the criminal illegals.
We do it every day of the week,
all
Mr.
the
Chairman.
people who are over here illegally to deport the criminal illegals. So
we do it every day of the week.
I'm going to let Ms. Ocasio-Cortez state her point, and then we're going to go to Ro Khanna.
Oh, we can.
If you do it every day, then why do you prevent local law enforcement in helping ICE do that?
can continue. I was just curious whose time it was, but we can proceed.
right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request.
Okay.
I'd like to seek unanimous consent to enter into the record this tweet. Just happened. Stunning. Senator Alex Padilla from California was just forcibly removed from the news conference being held by
Without
DHS.
objection to order. You just have to state the title. Go ahead.
This is the title.
Mr. Lynch. Chair recognizes Mr. Lynch.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request.
Anyway, but yeah, Alex Padilla. And I meant to cover that. The JD Vance interview when he was out in LA. Let's be honest. Alex Padilla tried to storm the podium with Kristi Noem while she was speaking. And whether he was wearing his little Senate pin or not, they were going to throw you out of that room. How dare you? This is a cabinet member, a White House cabinet member. You're just some goofy little, you're a subordinate. You don't get to just come up and storm the stage. For all we know, you may have been trying to harm her. Where's your decorum? Where's your common sense? But he did that for a photo op. Y'all saw he was crying in these chambers. They forcibly removed me. This dude's 6'3", 200-something pounds. They forcibly removed me, and they forced me down on my knees to the ground, and they handcuffed me, and they dragged me to the room. Like, yeah, dude, like, I'm pretty sure on a Saturday night when your wife is asleep, you pay about $300 for that type of treatment, you know, where they force you on your knees, handcuffed, and stick something in your mouth for a good 5 minutes, and then you get a nice cream rinse. I mean, you know, that's LA. I'm pretty sure you're quite known in West Hollywood. But I mean, people are ridiculous. But before we go, there's one last thing I want to show y'all. Let's see if I can. Do I have it? Hold on. Let me refresh. Because I did want to show y'all the full footage, or at least try to show y'all the full footage of when that kid got arrested for attacking ICE. Here we go.
Outrage continues in Pico Rivera. After a U.S. citizen is arrested by federal agents, the young man was reportedly trying to help a janitor who had been detained by federal agents.
Yeah, you see that? See how? Because he was all up in their face. He was all up in their
reportedly
face.
trying to help a janitor.
Yeah, he was all up in their face, trying to get in their face, and they shoved him to the ground. Like, get the hell out of here.
Who had been detained by federal agents.
And then he tried to get
well, now new security video is raising questions about what really happened. Fox 11's Gina Silva has that story.
They're putting hands on him.
The arrest of U.S. citizen 20-year-old Adrian Andrew Martinez sparked outrage and protests in Pico Rivera.
It is a lot more difficult to make these arrests.
Border Patrol Assistant Chief David Kim told Fox 11 News Martinez was arrested for this reason.
The narrative right now is just a U.S. citizen was arrested for no reason, but that subject punched 2 agents.
We obtained the security video, which shows the entire incident from beginning to end. We also spoke with Martinez's mother.
Now they're saying that he attacked them, so they want to press charges, you know, saying that.
Look at that. She got that sleeve tattoo. Yeah, you know he was raised to be an upstanding wait, no, I can't call him a YN, even though, you know, everybody's an N to me, no matter what race you are. But they call him well, never mind. I don't want to get into it.
He was attacking them. But in the video, it shows everything.
Take a close look. Martinez pulls up next to the Border Patrol truck and gets out of his car. As the truck begins to move, Martinez moves the trash bin. One agent shoves the bin aside and pushes Martinez, knocking him to the ground. Martinez gets back up and continues arguing. A second agent also pushes him. When Martinez walks toward the agents again, they immediately respond, taking him down quickly. He can be seen resisting as they attempt to restrain him.
To say that he is the aggressor is absolutely untrue.
Defense attorney.
Actually, it is true because he was impeding ICE agents with that daggone car and wouldn't back up. That's impeding. That's impediment.
Dmitry Gorin watched the security footage closely. He
And he
says
learned himself
no
a good
punches
lesson.
were ever thrown by Martinez.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He learned that he about to learn a lesson.
First instance of physical force in this video appears to be the larger law enforcement officer shoving to the ground and then being helped by other law enforcement officers to hold this employee down.
This is totally different ballgame. Please be careful.
Retired LAPD detective Moses Castillo says he understands the outrage many people feel watching members of their community being detained by ICE. But he warns that interfering with a federal investigation can be dangerous, and people need to be aware of the serious consequences.
When you interfere with law enforcement in California, you probably get arrested for a misdemeanor and maybe not face criminal charges. But with the federal agents, you're looking at some serious federal time, anywhere between 1 year in federal prison up to 8 years. If there's any physical contact or if you strike a federal agent, you could go up to 8 years. And if there's any serious injuries suffered by the federal agents, you could go up to 20 years.
Castillo says people have every right to voice their displeasure and record what is happening. That is protected under free speech. But anything beyond that, he warns, could lead to serious legal consequences.
All right, now you see how these agents, they jumped out, they pulled up in this truck.
Under free speech. But anything
All right, you see how they pulled up in the truck, guns in hand, ready to go, ready to rock and roll? That's because of what that kid was doing. It's because of what that kid and the other people. Come on, catch up. Okay, hold on. All right. And boom. Oh, that's crap. Hold on. And there we go. Yeah, see that? Because they had all these cars had the ICE agents' trucks blocked in. So backup rolled up and they came out with the military grade hardware. Because they know they're dealing with dangerous criminals. And we always know, mind your damn business. If you see your neighbor getting arrested, you're not gonna run out there in your slides and your shorts and your white beater. Oh, get off him, leave him alone. Unless you're a moron, you have no idea why they're arresting him. You have no idea. And you'll find yourself locked up in the clink with him. Damn, man. Why that's you? Damn, man, why they arrest you, man? Man, I don't know. You don't know? Wait a minute, hold on. Why is your legs and your shoes covered in blood? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Well, you found out he done robbed the convenience store or something like that. And your dumb self sitting up here trying to play Captain Save-A-Ho for somebody you don't know or somebody you do know but don't know like that. Now you catching felonies because you think you Superman. Get the hell out of here. Mind your damn business. Mind your damn business. But yeah, that's what happened. You see how the trucks, they were able to finally get up out of there after they got, you see the trucks, now they're moving, now that they got the people to move their cars and stuff. And this is his car when he was trying to block him in. These people ain't playing with you. I'm still laughing at this guy who took off running. But all right, y'all, let's get out of here. I will catch y'all tonight. We'll do a show tonight. We'll have some fun with it. Y'all know how we roll. Y'all be safe out there. Enjoy y'all day. Have yourselves a good lunch. Peace. Let's go.
Demon King Satan.
And what?
Demon King Satan. Satan.
Nope, not
Satan.
no.
Satan. 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 Satan.
I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded. I rode the bus retarded. In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron.
Yeah, to be a rock. Exactly. To be a moron.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you.
1, 2, 3. All right, hi. Thanks for the fun.
Get the fuck out!